Hello, Chemistry 10HH students. This is Mrs. Altman. We are on video number 1, Chemical Foundations, Part 1. Here are our objectives for this video. You are not required to write down the objectives. These are just to give you an idea of what you can expect to learn, what you're going to be tested on when we eventually have some sort of testing for what this video is on. If you prefer to write them down, you're more than welcome to. You don't get a grade for that, though. Pause here and then record your notes. So when I give grades for the videos, you just get a completeness grade for having done the notes, just for your own knowledge. But you can add or anything to your notes that you want. These are really your personal notes. You just get a completion grade for them. So let's get into the content. So you are in a chemistry class. We're going to start with what is chemistry. Chemistry is the study of matter, matter being anything with mass and volume, and the changes in matter. Those changes can be physical, meaning changes in state, or chemical changes where bonds are broken, bonds are formed. The way that we study chemistry is through observations. And there's two basic types of observations. Quantitative observations, quantitative meaning quantity, so that's going to include a measurement and a unit, so 12 inches, 5.552 seconds. Or there's also qualitative observations. These are things that describe non-quantifiable data. So if you see something change from green to blue, that will be a qualitative observation. Pause here. So you've probably discussed the scientific method before. Now you definitely have. We're just going to talk about it very, very briefly here when we talk about theories and laws. So you've probably heard of theories. Theory of gravity is an example. The theory of evolution is another. So these are explanations of behavior that have never been proven false. So you can't prove theories true because they're explanations. They're not actual observations, as opposed to laws, which just summarize behavior. So the law of conservation of mass and the ideal gas law. The big difference is laws describe what's happened, whereas theories describe why they happen. You've probably heard the term hypothesis before. Hypotheses are educated guesses or predictions, but they either have not been tested yet or they haven't been tested so extensively to be upgraded to a theory. Pause here. So this is going to be very, very important when we get to doing labs together. And I should have said at the beginning of the slide, but you do not need to draw pictures that are in your notes. If you did, sorry. But when you're reading a measurement tool, you're going to estimate one digit or typically 10% more than whatever the smallest increment of the tool is. So in the picture that I have here, there are lines every 1 milliliter, which means that the user needs to estimate to the nearest 0.1 milliliter. So I decided that this was 25.2 milliliters, but if somebody else decided it was 25.3 milliliters, there would also be correct. That's because that last digit is the uncertain digit. That can change from user to user, whereas all of the other ones, the 2 and the 5, those are certain digits, and those are not going to change user to user. Pause here. All right, I'll work through this with you. Feel free to fast forward if you'd like to get to the answers. All right, so for the first one, I see that there are lines every 1 milliliter, which means that I am going to estimate to the nearest 0.1. I'm looking at the bottom of the meniscus, which to me appears to be between the 11 and the 12. So I'm going to estimate that as 11.9 milliliters. Now I see the other one. This has lines every 10 milliliters, which means that I need to estimate to the nearest 1 milliliter. So to me, the meniscus looks like it's between the 60 and the 70. So you could say 69 milliliters. I actually think it looks more like 70 milliliters. I'm going to put a dot there to represent it, more on what that dot means in a different video. The point being is that there can be some slight variations, but there is more or less the same value rounded to the certain digits. Great. Thank you so much for watching and have a great night.